So I've got to ask you all a question, and this feels pretty big. It has to do with the new year, has to do kind of asking a call for help. It has to do with a lot of the things that we've been experiencing as a collective lately. It's about feeling the frustration that we've all been feeling, that things aren't changing in the way that we know that intuitively they need to get more heart-centered, to be more compassionate, to really start creating our better reality, our better society, and our better world. That's something that's been on my mind for years, watching the news and just seeing what's going on. And I really feel like it doesn't matter what party, what nation that you're talking about. I feel like a lot of people just don't know what to do, are wanting something better, but they don't quite know how they fit into all of that, into creating all of that. And I think this is something that I'm here to help do, but I think it's a call for me to help gather people in this way to help our current world situation, our nation situation, but also the individual situation, because realistically, we're all dealing with stuff. And a country is only as strong as the individual, so we have to really focus on ourselves. But then within that, as we heal, we need to be that ripple effect for others to create real change. Because I'm telling you right now, if we're waiting on somebody else to do it, if we're waiting on a politician, a leader, or somebody else to make that call, I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't matter. You can have the best leader in the whole world, but if nobody's behind them, what's the point? So it's understanding that we are important. Every single one of us is important. I need you to hear me on that. Every single one of us. And I guess what's been on my mind is, how do I, though, as an individual, how do I help? What do I do? If we want a better world, and, you know, I'm starting with the man in the mirror and starting right now. But as I'm doing that and I'm sitting with all the heaviness that we're seeing in today's world, not to say that there's no good, but there is good in the world, but it's also understanding that there's a lot of real issues and people need help. So this channel is starting by creating a system for better health among all the different areas. So you're going to see videos that are on health, the five key areas of total health. So that would be your spiritual health, your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, and your financial health. Those 5 areas. And you'll notice 5 is like a star. And the star in tarot being, and that's, you know, part of the spiritual aspect, right? The star being the healed one, the balanced one, in touch with all areas and balanced therein. So I think what we're really craving as a people, as a nation, is balance. And a lot of cultures, 444, as I said that, a lot of cultures across the world, their spirituality centers upon that balance. And I believe a better society really starts with our own personal health. Because how can we be a good leader, or how can we listen to other people? How can we do the actions that our heart is calling to do if we don't individually have a health that supports that? And I really don't think it's any accident that a lot of American people and people across the globe are struggling with their health. And sometimes, depending on your belief system, but sometimes I really think that governments can have some influence. You know, if a government has an intention, 555, if a government has an intention to suppress a people, it's really easy to do so if the oppressed people that you're trying to control do not feel well. They're going to be depending on you, and it can create a very codependent situation. So we see these same issues that are in our personal life. If you look at an economy or a society, a nation or a globe, it's those same issues but multiplied a billionfold, right? So that's why it's so key to focus on the individual, and then from there you can kind of see as a whole what we need to do to change. But there's more facets. On the macro, the whole part, you know, if we think global, planetary, galactic, it's just more and more areas that you have to learn how to balance. Because it's like compounds or like multiplies in some way is kind of how I think about it. So a better society really starts with our first wealth, which is our health. And specifically, to go into the first issue that comes to my mind health-wise, is a lot of people's hormones are out of balance, and I'm talking men and women. We wouldn't have the problems with ED, cancer, and then like women's cycles being off, men, you know, people not having enough energy. A lot of these, I mean, they can stem from a lot of different issues, but I feel like a key area we need to look at balancing on the both individual and collective levels would be the hormones. And I'm starting to wonder, which I think this next question that I'm going to ask is really seeing if we can create a community of different individuals across different skill levels, knowledge bases, walks of life, because I think maybe then we can start to solve these world problems together instead of relying on someone else to do it. So I'm wondering, like, how can we make a system that will help properly test, like, your hormones? Like, I'm thinking, like, maybe, like, a home kit where you send something to somebody's house. Maybe this is already in existence. I don't know. But I feel like to do that properly, you'd have to test someone's hormones, like, daily over time. Because then you would see, like on a man, for instance, he has a 24-hour cycle. So you'd be able to see over that specific 24-hour cycle, how does his testosterone fluctuate? Is he getting the shot of testosterone that he should every, 15 minutes? So, I mean, if he's not getting that, then that's an issue. And then, like, in women, you know, theirs would be their 28 or 30-day cycle, 20-day cycle for some, like, You would test someone's hormones every day, and you would be able to map that on like a chart of where they, let's say they're in this part of their cycle. We kind of know how the hormones should be swinging, like what balance of which hormones at any given point in time, to kind of create a nice like smooth arc throughout that cycle. But if we look and we see we have sudden spikes and like lows where it should be up here, then I think that would tell us more correctly and accurately where someone is hormonally. And I feel like that's the information we need in order to understand the imbalance, in order to then, okay, create a balance. You can't fix it if you don't know what's wrong. Like, and so I feel like I've been going to doctors, and I don't know, like the blood work always comes back fine, but I can tell that my hormones are not balanced. And so I just don't think that that's an accurate reflection of what's actually going on. And I think with that comes like a need for better education, because it's how we shape our minds, shapes our beliefs, it shapes people's actions, and then shapes our trajectory as a planet. So what we feed ourselves, what we learn about what we know, greatly impacts how we show up in the world. So I think like we need to start taking some of these issues into our own hands. And you kind of see that a little bit with entrepreneurship. Like there's a lot of, there's a reason why there's a lot of health coaches coming up and like these courses online, because, you know, people are starting to want to take that stuff into their own hands because they feel like they're not getting what they need in order to really help them as a person in this life, like operate as a human being in the regular world. And I think with that comes like critical thinking. So you see some companies doing that, like Mind Valley is a big one. What is that? Masterclass. A lot of individual entrepreneurs creating their own courses and things of this nature. So I think we need to continue to do that, because it's shaping the new vision and creating new systems on the ground level that, you know, what do they say? Sometimes you can't always fix a broken system. Sometimes you just have to create a new system altogether. And then, I mean, kind of like just create that as an option for people. And then gradually it makes that shift to the new system easier, because then you can see we need a path from here to here. So I guess the question is, why are we waiting on politicians to start figuring like us out, like who we are as voters, start being real and establishing a vision? I think what we're needing is a true vision for us to shoot toward, but nobody talks about what that vision is. It's just, we're just arguing over issues. And I think, well, it would solve where you need to be on those issues if you know where you're going. So we need to figure out where we want to go and agree upon a vision first. And then once we can do that, then we can stop fighting each other, 1444, fighting each other on those fronts. We can start uniting because we're all going toward a common goal. And I just don't see that a lot of politicians are leading by example right now. So I think that we need to be the example if we want change to happen. So I think the first thing we need to figure out is how to better collaborate with each other and have a sense of community, and be talking about real issues in a non-judgmental, non-defensive way, and a meeting of minds, so to speak, from many different walks of life and opinions. Like a collective round table, like Knights of the Round Table. And then we can create actionable steps for us here on the ground. Like, if we establish, okay, like, this is where we want to go, like, then we can be that change in our own lives, being the best, that new doctor, that better teacher, that politician, that leader, that entrepreneur, that activist, the plumber, whatever it is that you do in your life. If you're passionate about that and that that's where you can make your change, then do that. Or get yourself to a place of, I need to do this so I can be financially sound, so that way then I can progress, because we're only as strong as our weakest link. So we also need to figure out how to get some of those people on the planet that don't even have food or water, or, even people in our own countries. So my hope is with this channel at the end of the day, and you'll see a lot of different content on here, but my goal is to have a group of entrepreneurs wanting to help me create that better reality. A devotion to finding our centers. We need to find our center as a person, as a family, as a community, as a state, a nation, a globe, a country, balance, trying to find balance in all areas. And how we each can understand that we are the leaders of our own lives. We're our own leader first. And then, then we're part of a family, and so on and so forth. And is being committed to that ripple effect of peace, starting about the peace within ourselves. And then that peace rippling out to all peoples of all levels. So if that's something that resonates with you, stick around. I'm growing too, and figuring out my piece of the puzzle. So being alongside other people, figuring out their piece of the puzzle, I think is where we need to be. This channel is going to be about expanding a system of total health from the individual to the world, because I think we need to establish visions of what those new systems need to look like, and how the current systems aren't meeting the need, but then look into why aren't they meeting the need, and the how. It's questioning, what do we need to balance? I think this is such an appropriate time message because we're coming into the new year. And apparently I haven't verified this, mind you, but apparently this month coming up when I'm filming this, though this is timeless whenever you see it, January, and it's funny because I'm a Capricorn, but in January, we're going to have, I think, 2 new moons, and it's called like a black month or a black moon, because like the blue moon is when you have 2 full moons. It's a black moon. This month is a black moon, so we have two new moons in the month of January, and I can feel it. I can feel it. So maybe you can feel it too, and that's why you're here. But just, yeah, what, in the event of the upcoming new year, what do we need to balance to create a better world? Who do we need to befriend? How do we need to listen more? How do we need to act? It's not, I just heard this on, he has some online courses, forgive me, I don't remember his name, but he's talking about not a to-do list, but a to-be list. Figure out who you want to be first, and then work off that. And then maybe we can all figure out who we're supposed to be and what our better world looks and feels like. But I feel it. It's coming. So welcome. Glad you're here. Welcome to the Violet Temple. I have no idea where this is going. I'm being guided myself. And I just wanted to say I'm happy you're here. If you like this, you resonate with it, you're down for it, give me some comments. I love some feedback. And give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see what we can do in this community. But you're going to see a lot of different content, song messages, tarot, physical health tips, financial health tips, and emotional health tips. So we're going to cover the 5 areas. So again, happy you're here. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you guys in the next one.